No one tells you this openly, but there are institutions in this world that cannot be allowed to fail because they're not just companies. They're bigger than entire countries. And more importantly, if they ever come close to collapsing, no one will let them truly fall.
Mafia members, potentially terrorists out there using Swiss bank secrecy to hide their money, launder their funds, and get away with whatever their crimes have been.
In 2023, something like this actually happened, but most people thought it was just another banking crisis. The reality is much deeper. Credit Suisse, a 167-year-old bank, a place where kings, billionaires, and political elites stored their wealth, but managing money was only the surface. And then something broke, not slowly, all at once. People started pulling their money out, funds disappeared, confidence collapsed, and in the financial world, everyone had the same thought: if this bank falls. But the sentence didn't end there. It won't be the only one. Because this bank was so deeply connected to the system that its collapse would trigger a chain reaction. European banks, US markets, the entire global financial system, all connected in ways far more complex than most people realize. And at that exact moment, our doors began to close. Meetings were held, but not the kind you see on the news. Do you know who was in those rooms? Central banks, regulators, and the people who actually steer the system. And a decision was made. Credit Suisse would not be allowed to fail, but it wouldn't be saved either. Sounds strange, doesn't it? But here's the truth. Sometimes you don't save something, you absorb it. And that's when UBS stepped in. But this wasn't an acquisition. This was a controlled transfer of power. The government stepped in. Billions in risk were taken. Guarantees were issued, rules were bent, and within days, a 167-year-old institution was gone. But pay attention, because it didn't really disappear. The name vanished, but the power was concentrated somewhere else. And what emerged was something entirely different. A single bank, but not just any bank. A structure larger than the economy of an entire country. At this point, this is no longer about finance, this is about power. Because when an institution becomes this large, the government doesn't control it. The government depends on it. And that leads to a much more uncomfortable question. If a state is forced to save a bank, who actually holds the power? The government or the institution itself? And now comes the part no one talks about. Not everyone was saved. Some investors were wiped out overnight. Entire positions erased, money gone. Because the system has a rule that no one writes down. The powerful are protected, the rest are expendable. So who really won? At first glance, it looks like UBS, but that's only the surface. The real winners are those who needed the system to survive. Because this was never about saving a bank. It was about preserving the system itself, and whatever it took was done. But there's something no one wants to admit. The risk didn't disappear. It was simply concentrated, which means today we're not living in a safer system. We're living in a more fragile one, but that fragility is invisible because everything still appears to be working. And people assume everything is fine. But the truth is, there are banks in this world more powerful than nations. And if they ever fall, it won't just be the economy that changes, it will be the entire order. And maybe the most uncomfortable question of all is this: is the system really under control? Or has it already slipped beyond it? Because in this world, money isn't just a tool, it is power itself. And whoever controls that power writes the future.